Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last. Wake me up.
My name is Daniel Peter Sam. I am a St. George's School survivor, and I'm going to tell you a little story what happened to me up there. First thing, when I went to that school, I went to the door with my mom, and I think my older brother John was with me. They brought me up to the top floor. I met my supervisor, Mr. T. First thing he gave us, they sprinkled some powder on my head for lice control. I had to have a bath, then I got a haircut, a buzz cut before I went to school. My mom always made sure I had a good haircut and that, but still thing, when I went, I still got a buzz cut. And next thing we did, we went to bed, got up in the morning, went downstairs. We always had to line up before we went to the dining room. For breakfast, there's mush, milk. Sometimes the milk used to be sour. Then after we finished breakfast, we used to go upstairs for assembly. Did some prayers and this and that. And from there, we got ready for school. They had classes up in grade 1 to 6. Like after school, we'd be hungry. So we'd go down and find some apples, or sometimes go across just below St. Valley School. We used to go along that bank there and find some sunflowers, and we used to eat the stems off them just to sort of carry us over until supper time. And supper time come along, after we heard a bell ring, and got to go back and line up again. And sometimes they used to feed us. I don't know what it was. They said it was rice, but somebody told me it was barley with tomato sauce. And that wasn't very appetizing. But when you're hungry, you have to eat it. Then we went try to play it around again. And we used to go find somewhere for apples and that to snack on. Or when it got dark, we used to go next door between the church and the barn and the farm. There used to be a tomato patch there, and there used to be a carrot patch. We used to go over there and rake the tomatoes, get a whole bunch of tomatoes and carrots. And then we used to store them in our lockers. And I don't know what it was, but there was an administration change in that school. Wickenton, he retired, and they brought in another administrator. There's two of them, Brandbull and Mr. Harding. And we had a supervisor, Mr. Thomas. He was like really strict. One time we were supposed to go for cadet practice, Army, jump in the gym, but a bunch of us, we ditched. We went behind the church and hid. And he followed us, and he knew who we were, but then we got disciplined after that. We got punished. And later on in life, I and my brother and the 3 other boys, we ran away. We went to my home over in Kaya, picked up a bunch of supplies, and from there we went down to Cisco, my grandpa's house, and we stayed there for a day. And we went for a trip down to Kaya to try to catch some fish for food. And we had no luck, and we went back. And my brother and them, they went back first. They stopped at Kaya. My Aunt B, with some of the school and administration, went there and pick up my brother, who was home. They slammed the door in her face. And eventually, I don't know whether they got hauled back to school or not, but I was still down Cisco. And so I made my way back to school. The boys who ran away with me were talking in a group, and Mr. Thomas, he says, I was the instigator, I was the leader. So I got brought into the administration office, Mr. Harding's office, and I got strapped. When I got strapped, I would look at him. Each time he strapped me, I would smile. He tried his hardest, and he turned. Every time he strapped me, I would snicker at him. I would give him a smirk. Finally, he gave up. So I went back to the dormitory. And then one day I went down to the town. We used to be able to go to town. And Sunday afternoon, I went downtown and had a bunch of Coke and went back to school. And I had a complaint about a headache. So I went to the infirmary, and they gave me a couple of aspirins. And I guess it had some kind of reaction in my stomach. I woke up the next morning, I was bleeding. So they brought me to the hospital, and I was in the hospital for quite a few days. They had to have blood transfusions. And when I was over, I went back to school. I wasn't able to go to school. I was on an ulcer diet. That one weekend I was home. I couldn't go to school. So Reverend Harding invited me to go to Calgary. I went to Calgary with him. When we went to bed, he performed a sexual act on me. And from then, I was too scared to speak up, and otherwise, if I spoke up, it'd be my word against his word. Then the next year after that, I got invited to stay in his residence with another student. So that year, she still came to my room and did a sexual act on me. And then, I don't know what happened. I must have told him something, or then he stopped. I graduated and I finished school. And after I finished school, then I heard about this court case. Then that's whenever everybody started going. I think it wasn't that too long after that the school actually closed down. And so that's my story about that school. But the way I was treated, getting strapped, getting hungry, going to the kitchen. And another one of my jobs was I was a farmhand. So I used to bring the milk to the school. And when I brought the milk to the school, I used to put the milk in the coolers and grab the empties. When I was in the cooler with the empty containers, I used to find a box of apples, throw a few bunch of apples in the box. Away I went out, and that was my snack for the day. And we used to always have to go to church every Sunday. That's when we went to church. That's the day we got all gussied up, white shirts and chest pads on. And Sunday, that's probably the best meal we ever had. Like they used to feed us roast beef and that. I'm finished.